Tamriel knows them as the masters of the blade, but the chronicles hide a terrifying secret. The Redguards didn't just lose their homeland, they sliced it into the sea. For centuries, Imperial scholars blamed rising tides or natural disasters for the fall of the West. They were wrong. Hidden within the verses of the Book of Circles is the record of a martial art so devastating it didn't just kill men, it murdered the earth itself. We're talking about the Pancratosword, a technique that literally split the atom of the soul. If the Shihai can sink an entire continent, then every Redguard in Hammerfell is carrying a nuclear option in their mind. To understand why they truly fled to Tamriel, we have to uncover the one forbidden strike that even the gods of war feared to name. Picture a desert so vast, Alik'r looks like a child's sandbox. That was Yokuda. And in the heart of that heat, the Sword Saints, the Ansei, were doing something that should have been impossible. They weren't just forging steel, they were forging their own souls. Now listen close, because the Imperial scholars will tell you the continent sank because of natural shifts. Bah! Typical milk drinker talk. The truth is much more violent. For under Hunding, the father of the Redguards had already won 90 duels before he was 30. He didn't even use a real sword anymore. He used the Shihai, the spirit sword. It's a blade made of pure thought, a misty thing of light that can cut through a mountain if the spirit is ironclad. But while Hunding was up on Mount Hatu writing his Book of Circles, a rogue faction known as the Yridirg was digging into the Forbidden Cuts. This is where the story gets dangerous. They discovered a move called the Pancratosword. In the old tongue it means, the strike that ends all. It wasn't a martial arts move, it was a god-killing catastrophe. To execute the Pancratosword, an Ansei has to reach into the very atomos, the invisible building blocks of the world, and slice them apart. It is the literal splitting of the soul's atom. When the Yridirg lost the War of the Singers, they didn't accept defeat. They drew their spirit blades and performed the Forbidden Strike. The sound wasn't a clash of metal. It was the sound of the world's heart stopping. The earth beneath Yokuda didn't just crack, it liquefied. Granite turned to glass, and the sea didn't just rise. It was sucked into the void left by the continent's destruction. The Ragada, the warrior wave, didn't sail for Tamriel to conquer. They fled because they had murdered their own motherland. When they landed in Hammerfell and found the giant goblins, they didn't just fight them. They used the 5 magical swords of Devad to shrink the very essence of their enemies. Why? Because after what they did to Yokuda, the Redguards were terrified of their own power. Every Book of Circles sitting by a Hammerfell hearth isn't just a guide on how to fight. It's a desperate plea for restraint. Because if an Ansei ever gets angry enough to remember the Pancratosword again, Tamriel isn't just in trouble, it's gone. So here is the secret the crowns and forebears keep buried beneath the sand. You ask why the Shihai, the spirit sword, has vanished from the hands of the modern Redguard? It wasn't because they lost the way, it was because they performed a ritual amputation of their own divinity. They didn't just flee Yokuda, they performed a soul pact to forget the Pancratosword, choosing to be mere mortals rather than world killers. But look at the constellations, traveler. The warrior constellation in our sky holds a sword. In the old Yokudan maps, that sword is the Shihai. The lore tells us that the stars aren't just lights, they are holes in the veil of oblivion. That means the strike that ends all is still hanging over our heads, etched into the very fabric of the cosmos. The Redguards didn't just destroy their past, they turned it into a loaded crossbow aimed at the future. If the Thalmor or the Daedra ever push the Ragada to the brink again, they won't find a desert people. They'll find the Godslayers who have been holding their breath for 3,000 years. And when they finally exhale, it won't just be Hammerfell that sinks this time. Now pour another mead and tell me, if you had a blade that could cut through reality, would you have the strength to never draw it? Or are you just waiting for the right excuse to let the world burn? So take this truth back to your soft cities and your stone walls. The Alik'r isn't just a desert, it's a graveyard of secrets held together by the sheer will of a people who chose to be forgotten rather than remain monsters. The Shihai is gone from their hands, yes, but it is carved into their marrow. The Ragada don't need a map to find Yokuda, they are the living echo of its death rattle. Now the fire dies, and the wind from the dunes grows cold. Tell me, traveler, In a world where the Thalmor seek to unmake the very foundations of existence, is it better to hold the sword that ends the world, or to be the hero who finally has the courage to draw it? Drop your thoughts in the scrolls below. I read every word before the sun rises over the Dragontail Mountains. If you seek more of the hidden truths that the Empire keeps locked in its musty libraries, then bind yourself to this chronicle. Subscribe and ring the bell of the Great Hall, so you never miss the next descent into the dark. There are heavier things than sunken continents lurking in our history, and only those with the stomach for the truth should follow me. Go now, and walk the center of the road. Sovngarde awaits the bold, but the sand claims the slow.